Today's guest is a man who first had me on a podcast as a human, and he is one half of a member of Fighter and the Kids. He is an actor, an entertainer, and a knowledgeable man. Today's guest is comedian Bryan Callen. And let myself unwind. Shine that light on me. I'll sit and tell you my stories. Shine on me, and I will find a song. I will sing it just for I wouldn't do it like I wouldn't fuck Tim Welch up regularly. It would have to be a special occasion.
Yeah. Tim will grab you, though.
Let him grab, man.
He's got a bag of tricks on him.
That's why I've been getting lean, bro.
Is that right?
Yeah. Less to grab, bro. You want to get me, you better get me by an organ.
Because they can't, because their hands just fall off. It's like trying to grab a dolphin or something.
Oh, it's like trying to grab, I mean? Oh, yeah. It's like trying to grab...
like it's trying to grab the top of a cave, like an old cave, or a piece of marble that's been tread upon for many, many years. When you go to a...
It's like trying to grab diarrhea if somebody's on an all-oil diet.
Yeah, that's
impossible.
True. Sometimes when you go in the... if you're in like Rome or there's a well where people have been getting their water and the marble is actually worn away from where people have been leaning.
No way.
Yes. So that's when you know. Or steps. You can walk in.
Oh yeah, there's some steps, dude, in the old country.
And there's an indent. The marble has been worn away from where people have walked. My friend lives in a villa like that.
Wow.
Is
he rich?
In Rovereto or Trentino, in the north of Italy.
Jesus.
He used to be rich.
I'll sprain my neck even saying that.
I know the way they said Rovereto, Trentino.
Oh. Dude, by the time they're done saying it, I'm freaking nude, huh?
Are we rolling?
Yeah, man.
Nice.
And I'm not saying that I would take Tim Welch. I want to...
Well, that's what you said, though.
But
you said, I'll take Tim Welch. Look, I think that's exactly what you said. So I'd like to... Tim Welch, that's Sugar Sean O'Malley's coach. Yeah. Now, I rolled with him. And when I say rolled with him, we did a little flow grappling, little light flow grappling.
Okay. On the ground or on the feet only?
Just on the feet and the ground. Feet on the ground. We go feet and ground. Feet and ground. And then sometimes I go in the air if I'm doing Kung Fu. And he's a gorilla now. Yeah. He's a gorilla. That's a different kind of strength. That's a man who hasn't stopped training and fighting forever.
Well, he likes to sit. I know he has that. Like a lot of gorilla, you'll see the orangutans, they will play in the trees. They'll be milling around.
Orangutan.
Yeah, orangutan.
Means person of the forest.
Trading a dookie with another one. But you'll see the gorilla's always sitting there, and he just gets into some big beefy...
He's like a man orangutan, isn't he? He really is.
Yeah.
Because he's a ginger.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of the rare Ranga gingers.
He's a Ranga ginger.
Or what do they call them in Australia? They call them gangers.
Gangers? I don't think they're Australian.
Ginger. Instead of ginger, if you pronounce it ganger.
Oh, really? A ganger.
Genghis. Yeah, these gangers.
Yeah, he's a different kind of ginger, though. There's a brown
I'm not saying I will take him. I meant I will take him somewhere if he needs a ride. That's what I meant. I meant I will Uber.
All right.
For Tim Welch. Look at him, though. Wow.
No, Tim will... And so will Sean. Sean O'Malley, it's so funny because he fights at 135 and I'm 170 and obviously he'd knock me out right now.
You think?
It'd be like, all right, let's go, pop, and then, and if God forbid you try to roll with him because he'd do something like get you in an ankle lock or whatever. Oh. How do you want to lose? You want to fight Sugar Sean O'Malley? If you and I have to fight Sugar O'Malley, how do you want to lose? The question is, Theo, Bryan, how do you want to lose? How do you want to lose? Do you want an ankle lock? Do you want to get knocked out? Just tell.
I think you got to get him in that hard scarf, baby. That's the only way to go.
Well, yeah.
I know, look, there's rumors out there about Sugar Sean's that he can kick you and play Beethoven on your ribs with his toes at the same time.
Yes, he can.
Like, there's just the level of speed that he has.
Well, he's got an ass on him. See if you can bring up Sugar Sean O'Malley's ass. He's got a tailpiece.
Does he?
Yeah, he's a thin guy, whereas he likes to wear tight pants, as well he should, and he's got an ass. My girlfriend was like, he's got an ass on him.
Really?
Yeah, she was.
How can you even have an ass at 135? You got to really get to 140 to even have that ass.
He walks around probably at 155, 160.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hope he had a tarsal issue, I think. So hopefully his tarsals are tightening up.
I hate having a tarsal issue.
I don't really. Do we have to look at the ass of this man right now?
No.
I mean, we don't. I believe you, but I you know what? I feel like I notice if somebody has an ass, and I don't. And there he is fighting Josh Brolin right there.
Yes, he did, and Josh beat him up.
Oh yeah, I know. I can see that.
But
Josh is from a different era.
Yeah,
he's from like the Mesolithic, dog. He's from old school.
I had a bunch of stuntmen talking about. They worked on Old Boy, I think it's called, that remake of that Korean movie.
Oh, the Japanese movie.
Yeah, Korean movie.
Well,
come on,
we
man.
know what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And the stuntmen said that guy is very strong.
Who, Brolin?
Yeah, he's a bull. Like, he was able to do a lot of his own stunts. They were actually shocked at how strong he was.
Oh, I shook his hand before, and it's like, you know when you get up to like a door and it's locked?
Yeah.
It's the same type of thing.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really do much.
I shook a guy named Rich Incognito's hand. He plays.
Yeah.
I think defensive tackle or offensive tackle.
He called out the other gentleman who he got an argument with the Larry Tunsil or whatever. I think that was gay.
Yeah, he got in trouble for bullying, I think, but he's always been a tough guy.
Which you should do. I feel like if your job is being this guy.
Yeah. Now he's so big though. Like,
is that Kyle Turley's son, dude?
It might. Wait, go to that picture right there where he's got that Bills hat on. Right there. Look at how just thick he is.
Oh yeah.
Look at how thick he is.
Thick.
He's a blonde silverback. I couldn't put my hand. So when I shook his hand, my hand didn't reach all the way around his palm. So his palm is two of mine. It was so weird. And then
did it go both hands on his hand like that?
I had to go like this.
Use one hand as your knuckles and one hand as your hand.
I said, "How much did you squat? How much do you squat?" He goes, "Well, I mean, I used to, when I was going crazy, probably, I don't know, 805. I went,
damn.
He had to add the 5 pounds to the 8.
Yeah, I think he yelled at Tiger Woods' son or whatever.
Jonathan Martin.
There
it is. If you could be a pro athlete at one sport, what would it be? Because you played what, basketball? Football?
Played basketball. You want to bring up the picnic?
We got a pick here.
Well, when we call him Pick, his nickname is Picnic.
Picnic.
when we need a JPEG.
Oh, I got you.
You know, Nick was a premature baby. Do you know that?
He's a tall kid, so I'm surprised. He got a lot of. You probably drank a lot of milk as a boy.
I did. I do love milk.
Back, Nick.
You come from. I'm gonna guess you come from Scandinavian stock.
I actually don't know my family history that well.
He was adopted by his grandmother, dude.
I think I'm like German Irish.
Look at Theo Vaughn.
There I am, right there, dog.
Wow. Now you're the only white kid on that team?
Well, the other kid behind me was white and black.
Okay, so you were the minority in that group.
Yeah.
You keep in touch with any of those guys?
A lot of these guys didn't have phones then. Do they have phones now? Some of them.
Maybe.
One guy was 35 years old, the guy on the top right.
He looks like it.
Yeah. Dude, he would drop his son off at school in the morning and then pretend that he wasn't going to school and then come into school. It was crazy.
Yeah, he looks like he's got a mortgage, all kinds of issues.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man.
Damn. Basketball. Funny how skinny we were as kids.
Oh, crazy, huh?
And then when you're skinny, your adults go, "You're going to fill out."
Yeah.
I never filled out.
Really?
No.
How do you age gracefully? I know that you've been aging or getting into aging.
Yeah, I've been getting into
And how do you age gracefully? Do you feel like...
stay productive? Sleep?
Well, physical. Let's start with physically.
Sleep is the most important. Most people are underslept.
Really?
But that requires... But then if you're going to talk about
I'll fucking sleep Tim Welch, dude.
Damn, dude.
Sorry, dog.
Dude, you got...
I don't know. Look,
dude, you're coming hard on Tim Welch right now.
None of this is going to end well.
Dude, I can feel how mad he is right now. My phone's blowing up. Tim already hears this.
I know that none of this is going to end well.
Tim, calm down. Yeah. I'll talk sense into him. Damn,
I
dude.
know that none of this is going to end well or age well.
Damn.
When there's a video years from now of Tim fucking just sending me to Sayonara Town.
Yeah. It was just working your body so he doesn't knock you out at first, just hitting you in the liver. Hey.
He'll dress up like a lumberjack and just literally chop me down
Just chop
with
you
his
down.
axe feet.
You look like a piece of wood to me. Chat. Meet my Paul Bunions.
He'll dress up like a woodpecker for Halloween and just show up at a party I'm at and just take it to my neck.
You'll just take his feet and go, I got bunions on my feet. Time for you to meet my Paul Bunions.
Yeah.
And start just kicking you about the legs
Oh,
till you
dude.
get blood clots.
And
We
I'll
gotta
just
rush
be
you to the hospital.
Babe the blue blood clot.
Oh, they can kick you. When they kick you down here or behind the knee, that Muay Thai shit, you can keep it. They just have different bones.
We got Corey Sandhagen coming in today.
Corey Sandhagen. And his coach, Christian Allen, I watched that kid train before anybody knew who he was. I was at high altitude.
Really?
And that dude is...
And how do you get up to high altitude? You don't have to have ladders to get into the building or something. What is it?
No. It's just in Denver. You just go to Denver.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's Cody Donovan's school. And Christian Allen, who's a genius. He's a ninja. Christian Allen's a ninja.
Wow.
And Christian Allen that was his protege.
Really?
I took a couple striking classes from Christian Allen, which I have no business doing. There's absolutely no reason. But I would go back to my boxing gym and use just some of the shit he taught me, and it would they'd be like, "What is that?" He's this creative savant, and Corey Sandhagen is a product of that. And Corey Sandhagen has been training since he was 16 years old.
Wow.
I don't see anyone in the 35-pound division. I mean, all due respect to everybody there, because that's a stacked division, but anybody who fights Sandhagen, if I had to put my money on the future champion, I got to be honest, it's Sandhagen.
Well, he looks, the thing when you're watching him also, he looks like he has another 200 fights in him.
Well, he does.
Like he does.
I
I think at that weight too, those guys just don't wear down as quickly.
He doesn't take a lot of punishment, number one.
Yeah, and he's just on the move so much.
And he's also 5'11", 5'10", 11. So he's like my height. I'm 6'4", but I slouch. And when I slouch, but he's tall and he gets down to 35. And so he's doing shit. It's this new shit. You know, I was talking to Malik, who grew up boxing on a
Larry
high level.
Malik?
No, Malik B.
Oh,
And-
yeah, sorry.
And Larry Malik.
He keeps changing his name, dude. It's Malik.
Malik.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the weirdest thing. Sometimes you meet a black guy who doesn't know how to pronounce his
Or
name.
it's Malik.
It's like, yeah,
Malik.
dude.
Could be
It's
Malik.
like it's
Malik.
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 Yeah.
I call him Malik. I don't know. I like the soft A.
Look, honestly, seasonally, I will change up how I do the vowels in his name. I will also call him Malak.
Malak is good.
You know,
Malak.
if it's an Egyptian holiday, I'll fucking go full Malak on him.
Malik. You know what Malik means in Arabic? King.
No way.
Yeah.
He is kind of a king, man.
Yeah.
Um,
But he was telling me how boxing has changed. When he tries to spar with these younger dudes, they're doing shit he hasn't seen.
Wow.
They're doing weird, because everything evolves. People come up with, if you're in a gym and everybody's doing the same thing, you start getting used to each other's patterns. Then somebody comes along with, somebody innovates something different.
Yeah.
Somebody goes, I'm gonna come in with a lead uppercut, you know, and then a hook, and you're like, well, but that's not supposed to be. That's not what happens. But he's an unbelievable boxer, man.
Malik Bazo?
Oh, dude, try boxing with that guy.
I'm not fighting that guy.
He'll sleep you.
I'm not going to fight him.
No, but wait, we were talking about.
And yeah.
We were talking about sleep. Great.
So the
aging
fighter
gracefully.
has more, the fighter and the kids has more fighters on it now.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because the only kids on there is Chappelle and Brendan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it's you and Michael.
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 What season is it?
You know?
No, but you asked me how I age gracefully.
Yeah, let's get back into that, man. So first I want to know physically, how do you age gracefully?
First of all, I think you have to sleep is everything.
Okay.
So, but the problem with that is that people go, I don't sleep well. Well, are you eating a lot before you go to bed? What kind of food are you eating? Are you on any kind of like stimulants?
Now, what if you have a couple Godiva chocolates?
It depends, but as you get older, you're going to have more and more of a problem. As you get older, you could. When I was younger, I could drink a bottle of wine, red wine, no problem.
Really?
I had energy.
Wow, what was it in? Was it in like one of those? Can you bring up a cask of red wine, please? I just want to know.
I drank it from a cask.
Did you?
Actually, you drink it from a leather bladder, from a
Yeah.
flask, from an old school flask.
I've heard stories of. Can we get an image of a cask of red wine?
Yeah, that's a cask, I think. It's a wine cask. See that?
You know what I was looking for more? I was looking more for an old-timey, old.
A cask is what you transport it in, maybe, or just you store it in, or you age it in. But a flask, you use a leather flask. You know,
I'm thinking if you have more like that bladder, that more like
that would probably change the taste of the wine. You see, you understand. So you need a glass bottle. You age it under preferably 55 degrees.
What bitch wants to pull out a glass bottle with his buddies? You guys are all on a mountainside relaxing.
Yeah.
The women are, if they want to do it, are doing washing down by the creek
or collecting berries. Or
yes.
If it's a traditional hike, they're gathering and you guys are hunting.
Right.
I mean,
everybody's playing there. Everybody's helping out.
And there's a room for the other person. There are other genders that might be represented there who might do both.
Right.
Right, or who might choose.
Right, to do, maybe one day the biggest hunter's like, oh, I'm going to go hunt berries. You know,
that's
people
right.
are like, whoa,
that's right.
Calm down, Malot.
Yeah.
We need you back up here, dog.
Yeah, but
sleep,
water, and then I think I actually believe in.
Now, do you do water before you go to sleep?
Sometimes, but I think more importantly is in the morning. And then what I think is important is not eating too much, never overloading your system, never. So I do think intermittent fasting is a really good idea.
Wow.
And I think eating simply and not overloading your body. You can feel it.
Dude, I haven't done intermittent fasting, but I've had mittens on before, and it's so hard to fucking eat with mittens on.
And that's the same goddamn thing.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to butter your toast with mittens?
Oh, dude, it's almost impossible.
It's impossible. And then you're spitting out wool.
Oh, yeah.
Damn it. And it's like, at least they're wool, though. And why do you wear wool? Why do you wear wool when you're hunting?
Because you are trying to attract animals?
No.
Because you need...
Why would you wear wool instead of cotton?
I would wear wool instead of cotton because wool is warmer.
Well, it is, especially when?
When it is nighttime.
When it gets wet.
When it gets wet.
Yeah.
So wool gets wet better?
Yeah. Cotton kills. If you get wet in cotton, you're going to die.
Oh.
If you get wet in wool will actually keep you warm. It acts like almost like an insulating, it's almost like a wetsuit. So you'll stay alive longer in wool. You don't want to be wet, period, but wool. So that's why your first 2 layers when you go hunting or in the wilderness is always wool. You can use polyester maybe, but you want wool.
I want to do, if I'm going outside, I like to have on wool socks. Actually, if I'm on a long distance flight, I'll even wear wool socks.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at age-wise.
I got all kinds of things I'm terrified of the cold. I'm afraid of the cold. The cold makes me a coward. So I always have warm shit in my car, including fire-making material.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So I guess I do, but not really. I mean, if I can, you live in Venice, so it's kind of like...
In case Venice goes
There's enough homeless dudes making fires over
I know,
there
but in
these
case
days.
it goes to the wolves, maybe the vegetation...
Oh, for sure.
There's a virus and vegetation gets crazy, and now we're in this tropical jungle because of global warming, and now I got to make a fire.
Here's a question right here, man, from Peterion's son.
Hey, Peter, take your hood off.
Yeah.
Damn, kid.
What's up, Bryan? What's up, Theo? Coming here from Los Angeles. I ran into Bryan about 2 years ago in Venice. Was too much of a bitch to say what's up. My biggest regret in life, pretty much. But speaking of Venice,
I didn't see you. I would have said,
maybe,
hi.
Bryan, you can talk about.
No, he said he was a bitch for not saying hi to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I respect the fact you thought that you were the bitch.
No, I always say hi. I'm always super nice.
Gym vibes. A lot of homosexuality there.
Amen, brother.
A lot of people touching people in odd places.
Yeah.
You have any experience with that? Maybe some tips on how to navigate the waters and just get your workout in.
Yeah.
A true alpha like Bryan would know. Thanks.
And he was talking about specifically the Venice Golds.
Yeah. Well, I'm very, very appreciative of that question because I was working out in the Golds in Hollywood when I was a young man, and I was cute. When I was a young man, I knew I was getting older because gay men stopped looking at me.
Oh,
you understand? Now, when I was younger...
They just give you money at that point.
Yeah. When I was younger, I was skinny, but I had a pretty face. I had a delicate nose, and my jaw was well-defined. And I had,
damn.
You know
Write this
I mean?
down, Nick.
And I had heavy eyelids. I had not heavy eyelids, but you could see the...
you could see the meat
even
on
though
your
I
eyes.
just had my lids, it doesn't work, so I was cute. And I was doing I was doing these. I never liked lifting weights. I just like whatever. But I'm there and I'm doing
Well,
everything
those
wrong.
are unique too. Those are those kind of like I'm a kangaroo. Look at me. You know,
yeah,
those are
it's
those
for your
weird.
triceps. I never could do. I hated working out where I was just doing curls. I was like, I can't do it. I want to do something with like where I feel like I'm becoming more athletic, not looking like a bodybuilder.
Right.
So I'm doing this stupid bodybuilding thing, and a guy gets behind me.
Oh.
He gets behind me and goes, doing it wrong.
A white guy.
Yep.
Ugh.
He goes, you're doing it wrong. What's up? And he goes, get your butt in there. And he kicks my knees and he grabs my elbows. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on here, man.
So we just went with it.
We dated for like 3 years. And I know. And then I was like, I'm straight. And I ran out. I was like, I can't do this anymore. But you get confused. You know what I mean?
No, I
so
know
what
I
I'm
know,
saying,
yeah.
the answer to that question is sometimes you can get like, what the fuck? And you're living with each other. You have 2 small dogs. You have a vegetable garden. And you're like, I'm not gay. But it can take a while. It can take a while because it's comfortable. It can get comfortable when you're shacked up with a
They
man.
lull you in with the wind chime. You go to their house and there's wind chimes.
yeah.
And some of the wind chimes, it's other young men screaming for help when the wind hits the pipe. Help me. We need to get out of here.
I've been attracted to. There's a guy yesterday.
There's no way out of here. It's crazy, bro. I'm like, where do you get that wind chime, dude? And why does each chime have a person's name written on it?
Do you have somebody somewhere in this house? Is there somebody under the floorboards? How do you need that?
Yeah. That's Edgar Allan Poe, man.
Yeah, it is Edgar Allan Poe.
Telltale Heart, dog.
Goddamn right, bro.
Hey, orders
Thank
in
you
the
for being
floorboards,
literary.
dog.
No,
Okay,
but
so sleep and water helps.
Yeah.
But to get back to this man's question, sorry. A lot of men, and look, one thing that's not discussed a lot of times in America is the aggression of, it's always looked at that men, straight men are the predators in America. There is also predatorial behavior by gay men. Mm-hmm. And it is unchecked. There's nobody monitoring it.
Yeah.
There's nobody.
Well, it's guy on guy crime, so guys are.
Right, but you see how I think you can quickly see how women are disgruntled by the behavior of men sometimes, by men flirting with them, because it happens so aggressively with men, you know?
Yeah, that's very true.
It's tough to like, and there's no, and
if you go to the supermarket or Whole Foods and you're a good-looking woman, you know you're going to be dealing with energy.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like being a celebrity where you know all those people want to talk to you and they're going to. Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
there's going to be, you're going to have to, first of all, you're aware of how you look because you have to be, because they're staring at you. You know they're going to look for an excuse to talk to you. They know, you know they're going to try to stop you. It's all that exhaustion.
It's like being on a decent podcast.
It's like being on a decent podcast.
It really is.
I love your podcast, bro. And then they want to take.
Yeah.
God bless. But, you know, it's different for women. For guys, it's like,
is.
you know, they like me. But for
Right.
women, it's
But for women, yeah, there's more of
it's exhausting.
I bet it's exhausting.
But then you also get dangerous, like guys who follow you and shit. There's always that danger, I think, for women where men don't have to deal with that. Men can always, it's just different.
Right. If a dude follows you back to your place, you can be like, hey, dude, what are you doing in my place?
Yeah.
Whereas women, it's more like, it's probably a lot scarier.
Yeah.
But it's
It's
getting,
like, if a guy follows you back to your place, you know, as a guy, you can be like, well, make sure you close the door, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know.
yeah.
Can I get you a drink?
Yeah. Can I get you a,
But wait, so
liquid
aging
death.
gracefully,
is
is that what we were talking about? Oh, no, you were trying to answer his
I
question.
was trying to answer this guy's question because I feel like this doesn't get talked about enough. That there is mans that will do anything to be gay with you. And here's what I realized the other day. The hottest guy that a gay male can get is a straight male.
I've heard that from other gay men.
No, the hottest girl. That's their hottest girl. Like our hottest girl is like a hot girl. It's like, I got to get a hot girl. The hottest girl for a gay man is a straight guy. That's their hottest girl.
Turning a straight guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like people were like, yeah, it's like, first of all, the term turning a guy straight sounds, there's a physical fucking element to it. It sounds like a fucking crime.
Yeah. I don't know. It's still a guy. I've seen women, like there was a guy yesterday I saw who was a host of he was like seating people. Mm-hmm. And he was tall. He was dressed so well, and he was so effeminate. He smelled so good, and he had short blonde hair, and he was just like, he was perfect, and he had really delicate features. He was beautiful. He looked like a beautiful. He was so androgynous.
Like a little like a.
And he was super nice, and he had a kind of a very non-threatening voice. And I was looking at him, and I was like, I'm drawn to this. This might be a man, but he's got so much feminine energy.
That's Rome. That's that Roman vibe.
Yeah, that you're like, it wasn't that I wanted to have sex with him, but I appreciated how beautiful he was as a creature.
I'd feed him olives.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I was like, I'm not going to call him a guy or a girl. This is where the gender fluid thing makes sense.
And that's where we're headed, I feel like.
Well, I have a theory on all of it. Like right now we're trying to deal with this non-duality, right? So you know the idea behind. So a lot of this gender stuff comes from Jacques Derrida, who talked about. So when you have a dualistic mind, most of us have a dualistic mind.
I do probably.
Well,
I don't know.
Male, female.
I do.
Male, female, reason, passion.
Oh yeah, I have all that.
Logic, superstition.
Yes.
We break the world up into two: the male, female, yin and yang, hot and cold. And what Derrida said, I think Derrida was fucking the biggest mental masturbator of all time. But what he said was, if you have a dualistic sense of mind, you automatically privilege one over the other. You automatically are going to privilege male over female, maybe hot over cold. There's a tendency to privilege, so reason over passion. Be reasonable. Be logical. Don't be superstitious. When we have this, the mind over the heart. That's always the battle. The mind or the spirit over the flesh. So we think dualistically, and so the idea is when you do that, you're going to always favor one. We construct as human beings maps of meaning, and you're going to always favor one over the other. And when you do that, automatically, if that's your language structure, there's going to be built-in prejudice. There's going to be a built-in power structure. You understand? And so the idea behind a non-dualistic way of thinking, the idea behind going beyond male and female, for example, in gender, is the idea that that's how you, and beyond going black and white. The idea is racist, non-racist. How about anti-race? The idea is that you will sort of not favor one over the other. And maybe there's value in favoring the one that you usually don't favor over the other.
Right.
You got to switch it up so you fuck with your brain.
Right.
So that you fuck with the entire power structure.
Right.
That would be the idea behind. That's what's going on in the universities. That's what's going on in the humanities. That's what Jordan Peterson talks about. That's why you have this huge fight with gender now. Right? So now you have, it's very interesting because the feminists are having a big problem with the transgender community, because for a lot of feminists, they're going, wait, you're saying you're a man, you're a biological man, but you're saying you identify as a woman. And so now you're trying to be on equal footing with women, meaning, for example, you should be able to compete in women's sports, which means women who are biological get their scholarships taken away because you might be physically just more advantaged, you're a man. So it's very interesting to see how the feminist movement is grading up against the trans movement.
Yeah.
It's becoming this whole crazy
becoming the
debate.
fucking WNBA, dude.
Yeah.
Yes, me, bro, out of the gate.
Yeah.
But no, I feel
it
you
all
because
comes from a philosophy, a French philosophy. It comes from Foucault. It comes from Derrida. I mean, if you look at the fathers of these kinds of thoughts, it's very interesting.
So you're saying that, like, because we got stuck in this old idea of black or white, male or female, that now it's starting to become, the picture is becoming like muddier, but we're still kind of chained to some of these old ways?
We are, because that's the way our brains work,
right?
And I don't know if some of it's evolutionary or biological. I would imagine a lot of it's evolutionary. But
right, a lot of it is evolutionary.
Yeah,
a lot of it is like us, because a lot of the things I hear and read, some days it's like, this sounds cool. It's a neat idea, but it's not going to actually flow through the system that I am made of.
Well, when you get to the level of detail, it's really hard to implement. Right? But I have to say that, like, as somebody who felt very uneasy about all this woke shit, I will say this. Like, I know that if you watch commercials now, it's always it's always a mixed couple, right? So it's like a black man with a white woman with a black man. And so there's this forced sort of diversity inclusion thing. But what I like about that in a way is that kids are growing up with the idea that that's the normal.
Right.
It used to be with my generation, if a black and a white person got married, it was always like you like.
Oh, you call them zebras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's like what the left wants to do, and I understand it is kind of try to erase all that from your mind. You don't see color and don't even see gender, because if you make it an issue, the problem is when you try to do that, you're actually making it an issue. So that's the trap that you have to get out of, and I don't know how to get out of that. But I do appreciate. I will say that in a lot of ways, a lot of this woke shit is like, so if you're trans, if you're a child and you do have this gender thing going on, like you're a man but you feel like a woman, I really do believe that's a biological thing. I do believe that there are some people that just are born that way. They're born into a male body. Yeah, they're born into a male body, but they feel like a woman.
There's so many people. Dude, I used to do it when that Shania Twain song would come on, if I'm real honest with you. I would be honest. I would close my door and do the damn...
Well, we all have...
Foot on the floor.
We all, it's all a spectrum. Some people are more feminine, more masculine.
Right, and we certainly get caged into what is expected. There's a lot of conditioning in the world for sure. Like, this is the way I'm supposed to be. And so, yeah, I think it's... there's a lot. It's a lot to piece apart.
It is, but I think that what I think is technology and gene editing and meshing with computers. If you read The Singularity is Near, human beings are going to start being able to not only control their own biology, their own evolution, but they might be able to control even their own. I don't know if it's sex, but the idea of transforming into what you actually want to be through gene editing as an adult is not far. It's not far-fetched. It just isn't. You will be able to eventually. Right now, the process of turning into a woman is crude.
Right.
It's hard. It requires a great deal of surgery and things like that.
Stirrups.
All that stuff. I think eventually what's going to happen is when we have the technology.
You think you'll be adjust your genes in real time?
Yes, to genetically, you will be able to genetically morph into the biological version of yourself as a female. And that's not at all unscientific. Now we are already going to be. How would we talk about gender now? So a lot of this is almost like this. I always try to look at these big trends as evolutionarily. It's like there's an evolution to it. There is. Right.
Well, sometimes it's hard to, like, with media and like them pushing people certain ways. It's hard to sometimes know what is like just where things are going and what is like lead. The people trying to lead you over there for like commercial value, Well, like that's a hard thing to notice sometimes. But yeah, I think I can't imagine if you could press a button or take a tonic or something, and over like a week period, you'd be like, I'm doing drywall right now. Yeah. But in a week, I'm going to be at least an 8 in Florida, a female 8.
And you would
know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
You would be.
And then you see your buddies down there who's doing drywall. He's down there because he got a different job. He got relocated. Well, and you guys just see each other in an elevator. And you're like, holy shit,
but that's already happened, but now it requires a great deal of surgery.
Right, it's very rudimentary, they call it.
Yeah, it's physical and rudimentary. And
I mean, it's a real hacksaw Jim Duggan in there. I mean, you basically...
Yeah.
Look, and then here you go right here. Now, this guy...
This is Gabrielle Ludwig. It recently went viral. People try to say this is just happening. She's playing for Santa Clara Community College, but it was actually from 2012. But she was a former Navy SEAL.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, the USA Today profiled her struggles of being on this team. But again, back in 2012.
But she's already a 1%er when it comes to men biologically.
Right. She's 6'3" or 6'4".
8.
6'8".
And she was a SEAL? 6'8" is too tall for a SEAL, I think.
Right. And so there's these other girls
covered in naval tattoos.
So, yeah. First of all, she could.
Ex-Navy soldier, not SEAL. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. And Admiral Ludwig could easily be some of these women's fathers. Okay.
Well, how old is
50.
At the time, she was 50.
50. When she died, dude, she fucking got her dime on and fucking balled out.
What is going on here? Like, to me...
Look, I've long said white men should be allowed to play in the WNBA. I've long.
And as have I, but that's not a white man. That's a white woman, Theo.
Right,
You're about
now
to get
it is.
Deplatformed.
But see, but here's what's here. I think also a lot of our like the structure we know so far, like all the rule books are male based and female based. Like there's a lot of people that don't want to like. You get stuck in the patterns and of what the way things have been. It's hard to be like, okay, now we're gonna just change it up, you know.
Well,
and change takes time too. I'm not against it. It's just like,
yeah, but wait a minute. If you're a mother,
uh-huh,
and you've dedicated your whole life to getting your daughter to practice,
yep,
and to get a scholarship because you don't have the money, you need the money, and your daughter's really gifted at tennis, or she's really gifted at wrestling, or she's really gifted
or
at
singing, like Selena.
Well, no, singing's not a good example. I'm talking about a sport. She's
Okay.
She's
So
got
a body
scholarship.
sport, not a
yeah,
throat
she's got a
sport.
scholarship to basketball or track.
Okay.
And a biological man says, I'm now a woman. I'm not even going to get any estrogen. I'm just a woman. I identify as a woman. And goes and decides to compete and takes that scholarship away from your daughter. You can understand how frustrating that would be.
Oh, it'd be heartbreaking
For the mother and for the daughter.
Yeah.
And also why feminists now go, wait.
We've been fighting so hard to get these.
How do we navigate this?
Right.
I don't know how to navigate it.
The TERFs.
Yeah. Well, look.
Trans-exclusionary radical feminists.
Well, so then if you bring that up, though, you're called a transphobe or No, that's not fair either. We're just trying to solve a problem and bring up an issue that is real. So now what do we do about that? Like, what do you do about that shit? I don't want somebody who feels different or feels like they're a woman or vice versa, but they were born another sex.
Yeah.
I don't want them being excluded.
Right.
But at the same time, you know,
they can't be cheating and just putting a Camaro on every frickin' chick at 105.
That's what's but that's kind of that's the dilemma.
Right, and it makes sense because you're making a lot of rules where it's like, okay, whatever you identify as, that's what you can play as. So of course, some people's going to bend the system. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's that's also an ideological and political stance. So if you can just identify in whatever you say,
but that's what it's getting to be.
Well, so then that means that whatever you conceive and conceptualize is truth. Then this is Derrida. Then there's no truth. So in other words, if we don't have a standard on which we can stand, if there's not a standard that we can anchor into,
right,
just so that we can know that we can distinguish.
Of course,
life is distinguished.
You have to have that.
Well, but no, because there's a philosophy out there, and it comes from Derrida. And that says, no, there should be zero categories. It's why the Maoists put everybody in the same uniform and with the same haircut. It was the idea of eradicating literally any distinctions.
But Mother Nature is going to have her say in that.
Of course she is.
You know?
Of course she is.
And also the number, this is what gets me, the number of people that it applies to immediately take that template and put it against the mass majority.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times they try and force it in immediately. That's the kind of shit where you get so much rebuttal because it's disrespectful to just force it in immediately. I know it's disrespectful also to...
But it's a little bit more than that, buddy. If you even talk about this, if you even... And now... If you had the point of view, say you had the point of view that there are two sexes, or that your biology is what sticks, okay, you'll get deplatformed.
Damn.
You're considered you're practicing hate speech, and you will deplatformed from everywhere, including YouTube,
really,
and Patreon, anywhere else. It's called
so we can
hate
think
speech.
Stuff like that. We can't say it.
You're not allowed to speak.
So where do you say it? You just go chisel it into a bench somewhere?
The First Amendment doesn't really exist anymore.
Damn.
And that's very dangerous.
Puts up signs saying.
It's very dangerous. And I don't think enough people are talking about it. And I certainly don't think enough people who are pushing this narrative really understand what's what.
No, a lot of people are just chasing clout. They're chasing Weenie and and vagina. They just want they want any type of fucking body, genital clout. But what I'm saying is, have a separate league for the middlemen of the universe.
Yeah.
Because it's like if I'm a young lady who's worked my butt off and is about feminism, like women, we need the opportunity, this and that. And then a fella comes along and
But you have lawyers on the left who are now calling this. They're on the left. They fight for a lot of they fight a lot of liberal causes. I can't remember the woman's name, but she's a champion of she's a left-wing lawyer, and she's a champion of all these causes, the social justice causes. And she said this is misogyny. And I was like, damn.
She said it's misogyny if it's a man and if it's a transgender person?
She was saying that for men to come into women's sports now like this.
But these aren't men.
Well, she was saying that
these are rooks.
Biological men who are coming into female sports because they identify they identify as women now. She was saying, you hear the women on the other side. You hear feminists now fighting that.
Right.
So it's a fight, man. And
I
just sit back and I'm like, damn. And then you got science.
Put them at straw weight. Look, I say get them at a weight where. Is there a weight class you could get them at if you say specifically UFC?
Yeah.
Is there a weight class you could get them at where it evens out a little bit?
Yeah, but the problem with that is that you've got a different bone structure, and you've got so when you're talking about punching people in the face and speed and all that.
Yeah.
And even I think women and men have a different read on split second timing. So women tend to hesitate. Even the high champions hesitate just a split second.
Oh, women will start bitching in an instant.
Than men do.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge advantage in striking. So you've got so many issues. So when you're talking about women in fighting, you're talking about transgender women in fighting. What stage are they at? Like, what stage are they at in their transition? How much estrogen do they have in relation to testosterone? Do they still have the different bone structure and the different muscularity that gives a man much bigger advantage?
I think there should be then a separate league or something. And I hate to separate it, but it's when you start catering to, you have to cater to the masses first. It's just, I feel like it's where you have to, it's the most people. It's like the same when you get all these people to reconfigure their bathrooms and do all that. It's like, there's nobody transgender in this town, but you're going to have a news media come here and say these bathrooms are for men only. Well, there's only 11 people in town. People are trying to piss.
Yeah, in some ways, that's the strength of this country, though. Like, in some ways, maybe in and
I'm not trying to be old-sided.
No.
I just think you have to, like, yes, you welcome them in and you find a way to do it, but it can't be immediate. And that's sometimes where I think the media fails us, is they want it immediate, they want it now. And
well, I think the better way to put it is that you want to protect the marginalized and the minorities' rights, right?
Right.
But not at the expense of other rights. And
Right.
that's the balancing act. So if you're trumping other rights, or you are discriminating against another group to make room for this new group of victims or whoever you consider to be marginalized.
Right.
Now you're just moving money from one column to the other, but you're not really actually making the world more equitable.
Right.
You're actually so the idea would be, if you have to have California, if you're a publicly traded company in California, you had to have, if you had a board of 7, if you had a board of 5, 2 had to be women. If you had a board of 7, 3 had to be women. They just enforced that, right? So you have to have women on your board. Now they want color. Now it has to have diversity. So if you represent the board, you're on the board of a company which makes decisions for the company. Okay, it's a publicly traded company.
Yeah.
You now have a diversity quota, and you now have this is enforced. I don't know if they got the diversity quota through post, but they did with the female quota. So the board cannot be all male, no matter what. So if you have, so the idea is, if you're really qualified for the job, but you happen to have balls, and a dick, or whatever, or a certain chromosome, you are excluded. You can't.
Damn.
You got to take a back seat. So now you're discriminating against men for having for their biology. And
right.
now you have to have a conversation about biology. And if you're going to enforce biological women are allowed, must be on the boards, well, now what about gender fluid people? Are you going to represent trans people?
And that is why you relocate to another state where they're not.
That's what happens.
Right.
That's
because it's just.
you don't know how to do business that way. Because if you have a business and you're responsible to your shareholders, you go, wait, I want the best people. I don't give a shit what they are. I want the best people on.
Yeah, especially if it's a small family business. Now you got your son cutting his penis off just so he can work at the shop. You know what I'm saying?
No, but this is publicly traded, Theo. You're going too crazy.
Okay, my bad, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, but it just feels like that as a small business owner. You feel like, well, if my business ever grows, I'm gonna have to fucking, I'm gonna have to install a dick on my wife just to fucking make ends meet over here. But that paranoia in your head as a business person, you're like, I'm gonna go to a place.
The government comes in and forces you to do that. That's mandated. And so now what you're doing is you're enforcing equality.
Yeah.
You're enforcing equality of outcome, not equality of opportunity. And what they're doing in Hollywood. If you want your movie to be in the Oscars now, be an Oscar contender.
Oh yeah, you need to have an amoeba in there.
You got to have you have to have color in the cast, but you have to have color behind the scenes too now.
But it's gotten so, which look, I think it should all be. I kind of believe it should all be based on just the percentages of the people that are in the country. Like, if a ethnicity is a certain percent, then that percentage should be.
Well, you'd be in trouble with that.
You think?
Oh my God, it's a terrible idea. Terrible idea. Because then again, all you're doing is looking at numbers, and you need the people that get jobs should be the ones who are the best for the job.
Right, I agree.
That's what it is. If most of the people that are great for it, if most of the people that are great for the job are all black women, then all black women should be in there.
Right.
If it's all Asian, then all Asian. I don't give a fuck. Whoever's best for the job, man.
Yeah.
And have blind auditions the way they did. So with orchestras, they were all male, so they started just having blind auditions, so you couldn't see if it was a man or woman playing that instrument.
Yeah.
You go behind a curtain and play, and you just have to hear. Guess what? Women now represent even more than half of the instrumentation in I think the San Francisco Philharmonic and the New York Philharmonic.
Oh yeah, you see a lot of those harmonics, a lot of ladies out there, a lot of dimes out there playing the flute on the lyre.
Do you play an instrument?
I'll play a little bit of piano.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
For real?
I'm getting me a little got me a little nice little place over there, and at the moment in Nashville, I got a place in Airbnb. I'm keeping my place here, but I'm getting a nice piano.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you.
Are you going to be there March 3rd? I'm doing another live podcast.
You are?
Another live podcast March 3rd.
That's in like a week.
At Zany's. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I know. I forgot.
Yeah.
I got to start promoting it.
I'll be there, man.
Me and Steve Byrne.
We got Travis Tritt coming on. We got Jordan Peterson coming back on.
Oh, really? Oh, man, I love that guy.
Pretty excited about this. Here's a beautiful lady right here, or
she is.
This could be a man.
I have your Jordan Peterson book, too.
You do?
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
I love that book.
He's got a new one coming out.
Oh, I got to read that.
Yeah.
Hey Theo, hey Bryan, my name's Marissa. Bryan, I know that you speak French, and I do a little bit too. Yeah. And I actually saw you in Dallas, and I thought your whole French bit was hilarious. So my question is, quand est-ce que vous avez appris la langue française? Parce que vous la parlez très bien, et je l'ai adoré.
Merci.
Et aussi, quand est-ce que vous allez retourner à TFATK? So in
Merci.
English, I said,
the answer
when did you
let me
learn
say
the
first.
language French?
Yes.
And when do you think you will return to
L'érection.
So thanks,
Let
guys.
me say that.
Gang.
Beautiful lady. Thank you for the question. I
Yes.
want to say that, young lady. Appreciate you.
Je prenais le français quand j'habitais au Liban, quand j'étais un petit garçon.
Oh.
Je vais à l'école là-bas.
R.I.P.
Je vais à l'école. Yeah, so I went to French schools in Lebanon when I was a kid. And
War-torn Lebanon, huh?
That's right. I was in the war there for about 7 months. We were evacuated to Greece.
Ugh.
And then I've
And
already
Greece
done
fucking
2
fell
episodes.
apart. Everywhere you go kind of fucking falls apart.
It falls apart, dude. Yeah.
Not to say that with you right here, but
No, but I was doing
that's
some
crazy.
CIA work. I was
you?
organizing coups.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Brendan still coos sometimes. That guy has fucking the worst vocabulary I've ever heard. He's the only one him and Boston will talk, but Boston will lead the conversation. It's unbelievable.
Boston. I haven't met Boston.
You
yet.
haven't?
No.
Oh, fine as fuck, bro.
Take it easy. Just say cute. Don't say fine, bro. You're talking about a baby.
Bro, but this baby is about that life, son.
No, I don't.
Oh, this baby's
I don't
been
feel
at
comfortable with this.
This baby's been at pool parties, dude. I'm telling you.
No, the baby's big though. The baby's got a head on him.
The baby's got a freaking. Whoo,
He's gonna be as big as daddy.
Oh, that baby is fine, dude.
Hey! No, that baby's cute.
It's cute, yeah, baby is cute.
I don't like the way you're dragging out your words, bro.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Don't say cute with like 4 U's in it. You can't do that, bro. And you're wiping your mouth right now,
my
bro.
lips is getting.
I'm not comfortable.
Damn,
dude.
Damn, man. Yeah, you're right, bro. Thank you for the question, s'il vous plaît.
She's très jolie, très jolie.
Yeah. Mon, right there, look at
Vernon trying to have my time over there.
Look at that
Trying to
hair.
get my girl drunk.
We're trying to get my girl drunk right there.
No, dude. That's a boy.
Look.
Don't say girl.
Bro.
Don't say my girl.
Let him decide, okay?
No, bro. Okay, you're right. I did.
Bro,
I don't know how
let
he
me tell you
identifies
this.
yet, but I think he identifies as a boy. At least you
We'll
gotta let,
see, bro.
You gotta let the parents decide for the child, and then let the child when they're older.
But I mean, it's like Boston, the best name, the Boston Strangler if he goes in UFC.
Boston
The
Strangler.
best
It's
name
actually good.
already.
Boston the Strangler.
Yeah. So we got a new website done, and I like it.
I love it.
You do?
Yeah, super functional.
Yeah, that's it. It's functional, and it's reliable in the sense that if we need help with it, this company is right there to do it, and this company is called Modify. What did they do that's different than the old one?
They just added basically all the functions we were looking for to fit our podcast. We can upload video questions, songs, voicemails, and it's all in one spot, and it's specific features we ask for. So maybe if you have a different company, they can put features you need for you.
Right. So if you have a company, if you have a design, a plan, something, you need a website. You need some real estate on the web. Well, the group that can help out is called Modify. That's right, Modify. modiphy.com/Theo, and they are basically offering the last website you will ever need. There's no cost to build, no contract, unlimited updates, unlimited supports, custom design, easy editing tools, future redesigns, all for just how much, Nick?
I'm actually not sure because I don't have the copy in front of me.
$249 a month. Unbelievable. Imagine how much fun you can have with a website that's constantly going to be updated. $249 a month. They did our website, theovon.com. They did a great job, and we know it's in reliable hands. Look, you got to have real estate, and you got to have it on the web, and that's where your business needs to be. Modify.com/Theo, modiphy.com/Theo for the last website you'll ever need. All right. Dude, we got to get you a hood hat, man.
Do you got any lacrosse, Wisconsin? Any Wisconsin at all?
I mean, I think there's like is there a DeKalb, Dubuque? What is there? What am I thinking of in Wisconsin? Leclerc? No,
Lacrosse?
No, there's some other place.
Fond du Lac?
Ooh, Fond du Lac sounds illegal. I wouldn't want to be a child growing up there. But anyway, Hood Hat is a company that basically you can go to their website and you can customize a beautiful merino wool cap that will kind of take your head to the next level. You can pick out colors that kind of fit your vibe, fit your hood, basically. So you would do where? Lacrosse, if
they had one. I'd rep some of the bigger cities. MKE, a Milwaukee hat.
Okay, what about your neighborhood? What neighborhood do you grow up in Lacrosse?
The South Side? I don't know. They didn't
there
really
we
have...
So you might go South Side Lacrosse. Where I'm from, I might go, let me think, McGee Street. Or I might just do Covington, Louisiana. Or I might do Mandeville. It can depend, but you can customize it to fit your hood. Why make a hat that's just general, Los Angeles or Russia? Get something that's very specific. Hood Hat helps you do it. Just go to hoodhat.com and use code THEO20 for 20% off at checkout. Go to hoodhat.com, use code Theo20 for 20% off at checkout. It's the essence of your neighborhood, the essence of your culture. Fine tune it, get specific. Your street, your block, your hood, wherever you're from, your stoop, your valley, your holler, whatever it is. Hands down, the best snapbacks made from the finest merino wool right here in the USA. Hoodhat.com, code Theo20 for 20% off. And now back to the episode. Thanks, Nick.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, man, it's I guess you're right, because now the whole discussion has come back to full circle, where it's like the original argument is now butting up with it's just going to become a spiral. It's a never ending. So
how we figured out in the West, we figured out a way around this stuff. I mean, I'm not saying the West didn't have its share of all kinds of prejudice and all that, but the West has done at least the West is the first country to talk about it and tackle it head on.
Yeah.
And respect the rights without killing people.
It's a good point.
But the West, the idea, I'm not saying we've implemented it very well, but much better than any other country. The idea is you treat people as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you start categorizing people, you'll never run out of categories.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to include men and women on the board, and that's mandated, what about people under 4 feet tall? What about dwarves? What about people who are deaf? Where are we going to stop?
We need the deaf, man.
Where are we going to stop this? What about the blind? You are going to. What about trans? Are you going to have? Are you going to have represent every category? You would never run out of categories.
Let them keep going, man.
Which is why you treat people as individuals and you have a meritocracy. It's the only way at the level of detail to run a society. You can't do it any other way.
Yeah.
And also I don't mind if you have a company and you don't even ask people up. I don't think you should ask people their sexual orientation or any of that, because obviously,
who cares?
Well, obviously you don't want to give somebody a reason to discriminate, so don't make anything.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's like everything has just become such a thing. It starts to feel impossible to even communicate. And the tough part is that, I say a lot of times that tech is the new fossil fuel, It's like bandwidth is the new oil. It's like
we're all slaves.
Yeah, and it's like
slaves.
And
it's monopolies, man. They're monopolies.
Oh, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. But I wish that someone would come out with an app, but the problem is they wouldn't be able to platform it now, that would tell you which companies support what their beliefs are. That way, you could start to have dual company, people that aren't
competition.
You can start to have a competition where then it's going to be like, okay, yeah, I might have some of these beliefs, but also some of these beliefs. I want to support a company that has more beliefs like I have, Yeah. But then I just feel like I don't know, then it would start to affect the company's pocketbooks, and then you wouldn't see so many companies, I feel like, be so outspoken or
I'm worried,
make their employees feel like they have to vote a certain way or this type of thing.
Yeah, like I worry about, I wish there were more options and there are becoming more and more options for technology.
Yeah.
There is technology that's coming out where you won't be as reliant on all the massive companies. At least I'm hopeful. Yeah. I don't think that's good for anyone. But I am concerned and I am sympathetic to big tech's worry about misinformation, malinformation, and disinformation. That's very dangerous.
But that's always been out there. Like, you could always listen to an idiot.
I know, but say you have a platform. Say you're Facebook, okay? And you have a technology that you've invented, okay? Mm-hmm. And everybody's on Facebook. And all of a sudden, the government of a country, because it's worldwide, the government of that country says, they start planting stories on Facebook that are categorically false, that are demonizing a minority political group. Mm-hmm. Because they might be the Uyghurs, they might be the Rohingya, they might be whatever in certain countries.
Yeah.
And you go and you start talking about how they kill children, or you do whatever to rouse up the majority in your country's ire, to rouse up their anger. Mm-hmm. And you just start planting fake stories, and you get more and more people more and more outraged about
this. CNN.
Whatever it might be. And now you have a vigilante mob of 5,000 that have all been talking on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And they decide, let's go kill these Rohingya,
right?
These Uyghurs, these trans people, these Republicans or these Democrats over here, or these liberals or these conservatives over here.
Right.
History is full of that. I mean, the Tsar in Russia, when the economy and shit was going bad, he would say, you know what? Let's blame the Jews. Let's go. Hey, all you guys, it's the Jews that are doing this. So you'd have mobs of men with bats and knives, and they would come into the Jewish pales, the ghetto, and fucking burn down the synagogue and kill as many people as they could and rape everybody and do all kinds of horrible things. That was the story of the Jew in Russia forever. And that's where the Zionist movement was born. The idea was, if this is going to keep happening, we're going to keep getting killed. We need a homeland. We have nowhere to go because we're always a minority. So what I'm saying is that now with Facebook and with big tech, if you're allowed to spread if you're really organized about it, and you're allowed to spread information that is categorically false, but is also galvanizing an enemy, galvanizing people to actually take violent action.
Right, like people that trade Pokemon cards almost.
But what if they're doing it? Which apparently they were, I think, the Rohingya, in Burma or whatever, Myanmar, I can't remember.
So people were really doing this. They were meeting on Facebook groups and then having beliefs and then going out and taking action.
Yes, so now you have someone like Mark Zuckerberg. What's Zuckerberg and all of them supposed to do? They're responsible. They're looking at the moral responsibility. They're looking at all the responsibility. They're looking at the financial, the legal responsibility, but it's also just a moral thing.
But
and
also
it's a problem because they don't know how to deal with that. I wouldn't know how to deal with that. How the fuck do you deal with that? So now you got to get really, really kind of, you've got to get really draconian about it. Now you got to be like, look, if you guys are going to start talking about masks that are not being effective, or you're going to start talking about how vaccines are not effective, which, by the way, they are effective. If you're going to start talking about that, and you're going to start spreading all these like documentaries that don't have any basis in science, I'm just using it as an example. I guarantee I'll get a lot of shit just for saying that. But if you keep doing that, right, they have to kind of go, the science is saying this, and you guys are saying this. They have to take a stand. I guess.
But then you're going to be stuck by what that person's views of the world are and what they...
It's tough.
Because what if they have their upbringing is totally, they live from a complete different place. And I think you have a lot of these people are all from the same spot, the same type of tribe and the same type of, there are a lot of the same just type of people.
Well, so I just did an interview with...
Same ilk.
Yeah, same ilk.
I did an interview with Alistair Bostwick. It's on YouTube now. And he was a reporter for Huffington Post, for BuzzFeed, and now he works for Verizon.com, which is he kind of like, he's a really good journalist. He just did a crazy video on Woody Allen and how one-sided that piece was on Woody Allen. I mean, he's basically defending Woody Allen, but just a liberal guy. But he was talking about how I said to him, why is the press so left-wing? And he goes, because most of the people who are in the press are from L.A. and New York and Chicago and the big cities. And they just happen to be younger people who tend to lean left. It's not like a conspiracy. It's that they tend to be socially progressive. And so what you're going to get is you're going to get more people in journalism who happen to be of that. The way he was describing it was really interesting.
Right, that makes sense, kind of.
Yeah, so like you said, it's the same ilk. If you have one particular ilk, and they're usually educated, they're usually super educated from really good schools, and they tend to come from socioeconomic backgrounds that are of higher class.
Right. So they have a different, but that perspective of the world, growing up, like, dude, some of my richest friends have been the absolute most scared about this pandemic. Smartest friends have been the most scared about this pandemic. That it's just ridiculous,
Yes, exactly.
So I think there's a level there too where it's just so overkill and so out of touch with what a regular working day-to-day man and woman couple that wants to have a traditional kind of lifestyle.
Yes.
And then everything is this, but then you have a lot of those types of people who are far left who end up being 40-year-old women who are lonely, who have no fucking children, and who are trying to fly down to Barbados to jumpstart their womb somehow on some fabled machine or something, or wandering around their house and dyeing their hair fucking 75 colors and fucking sawing their tits off for magic or whatever. Like, it just gets, so then you have a lot of people who are just unspoken for and who feel unspoken for, even just to ask questions. And then that's where it gets really, really spooky.
Well, you ever heard the expression weird? So
because I'm not like some right-wing Trumper, but also I'm a person who believes I should be able to talk about stuff and ask questions and not feel weird if I want to also say stuff and get something wrong.
I agree.
Like, how else do you even be a comedian?
But just so scary that you're even having to be careful. Like, we are both very careful right now on a podcast about what we're saying and how we're talking. That never used to be the
I have
case.
to be careful because I don't know what I'm saying a lot of times too. So my brain is very careful because it doesn't know what I'm talking about a lot of times.
But like you said, you're allowed to get it wrong.
Right, but so now you have a society of people that feel like they're not allowed to get anything, at least to trial and error.
That's right.
You have a ton of people that feel that way.
Yeah.
How does that feel to some? I mean, it's just that's debilitating. That's debilitating to people.
It is debilitating. It's awful.
It's awful.
I mean, it's funny because when they did any experiment they ever did, right? So if you think about like anything
Frankenstein.
Well, no, that would be one. Frankenstein is a good example.
But the man tried it on his brother. Look at Louis Van Gogh. Look at.
Do you know what Frankenstein symbolized? The idea that machines were taking over. Machines were now taking over humanity.
Wow.
And we're having the same talk 100 years later about how machines are going to take over and make man obsolete. That was something that Mary Shelley, who wrote that book, that was the thesis of that book. Like, when man meshes with machine, we'll lose our humanity. It's kind of fucking cyclical. But most of the studies on economics, on social behavior, we all talk about whatever it might be. Like, when you say things like, well, most people tend to be more emotional about this. It was all done on what they call, the acronym is weird, Western, industrialized, educated, rich, developed people from those countries. From westernized, educated, industrialized, rich, developed countries. So most professors were doing their fucking experiments on people who are college educated, or at least had money, were from a developed country, definitely like Europe or America. There was never any of it done on people who came from other parts of the world, who didn't come from industrialized, developed, educated backgrounds. So much of what we know has been skewed just by the nature of how experimentation was done and who is available to do the experiments on. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
It's like that. So we keep running into these issues.
I don't know.
We keep running into these issues.
Yeah, man. Look, it's spooky time to be. It's like, is it spooky? It's a great time to be alive. It's the only time that we get that we know of right now.
I'm scared.
It's also it's a scary time, but there has to be. There's always like a way out of things. It's like, I mean, for example, like, you can still, if you shut yourself off to some of the media and you just let it go and do its thing, you can still live a normal, straight life or gay life. Mm-hmm. Whichever you want. You don't have to get into the fights. You don't have to engage in it because some of it is out of my control.
Yeah.
But then also it's like every voice that was even like questioning or anything is been extremely silenced, and that's not good. I don't feel like that kind of stuff is good.
No, that's the problem. The other argument, like Sam Tripoli and I always have these arguments on.
I've talked to Sam, dude.
Oh, it's great. But we have this podcast, Conspiracy Social Club, and I debunk conspiracies, right? Mm-hmm. He seems to win a lot. But by the way, if you watch Conspiracy Social Club, I think we may have to move over to Rockfin because they took us off Vimeo.
Really?
Patreon didn't let us do it.
Vimeo took you off?
Yeah, because they don't allow any conspiracy talk, even though I debunk it.
Vimeo did? Vimeo should be lucky to have anybody on that fucking thing.
I know,
Jesus.
But they took us down because they have a strict policy against it. And I'm like, I'm an anti-conspiracist. I'm trying to debunk it. Yeah. But, they're like, no. So I don't know what I don't know what the practice is.
Well, it's just become general and blanket, which is crazy because that's the same thing that like kind of left-leaning things say that people are doing about gender and stuff, but you're doing it in the term words that you use to terminate anything that pops up.
Yeah, and I'm trying to, in earnest, debunk conspiracies.
Oh, that breaks my heart, bro.
And so we have to go.
That's
over
why
to
you
a
got to
plat-
get a Glock, dude. You got to get your family
Have one.
and go be somewhere.
I know.
And I think that's what a lot of people are saying. This rat race doesn't even accept me anymore. They not only that, but they mistreat me on social platforms where I'm even just trying to be a regular person who errs and who
Just
is
trying to be
human.
funny, man.
And trying to be funny or just trying to be human.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of it is people who never wanted to take any risks, just sitting somewhere, flowing into
But
this.
they're going to always exist, though. The problem is corporations. The money listens.
Right.
The money, until consumers.
That's why you need to get an app that sends people to different places. They can support companies that also mimic some of their beliefs, or at least are open to it.
Yeah.
Because then once it starts to affect the pocketbooks of companies, they'll quit the bullshit.
How about due process? How about just that? How about if Disney's going to completely cancel Gina Carano for writing Bebop Boop and having a clumsy comparison to the Holocaust, which wasn't even that clumsy compared to a lot of people who were on the left who didn't get canceled.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, then until consumers say I'm not upping my subscription to Disney, I'm not watching Lucasfilms anymore.
Right.
Until they do that, and until Disney sees that when they cancel someone like Gina Carano, or they cancel anybody due to due process, it actually hurts their dollar. It actually hurts their sales. Because right now, they just don't want to deal with any kind of Twitter thing.
But it's so crazy. Who gives a fuck about it's just like...
They do. Because they don't want to deal with the backlash because those voices are so loud and organized.
But they'll go away in a week.
Yeah, not when... It's just... It creates too much bad press. Because what does the press do? The press needs clicks. The press... Everybody in the press, talking to Alistair Boswick again about this. He's like, when you're a fucking journalist... You want clicks. You want to create sensation.
You're right.
You want to write.
Right. It's right.
Yeah, you can't do, if you're going to do a documentary on Mia Farrow and Woody Allen, you can't take a balanced approach. Nobody wants to see it. You want a hit piece, the way the Michael Jackson thing was. You got to come hard from one angle.
Right.
Because then we're like, yeah, we got a bad guy and a good guy.
Right. So this is Dustin Poirier taught me this, man. He said, this is when that Mike Perry thing came up. Mike Perry had done some things. He was kind of losing it. He was going through a tough moment, like about 8 months ago or a year ago. And I was talking to Dustin one time. He goes, man, I don't click on that kind of stuff. When people send me that kind of stuff, I don't click on it because I don't want that in my world. He said, I don't want that in my world. I don't want to look at people that I care about or other humans in ways where people are just trying to pinpoint them into one little space or one little moment.
Good for him.
He just said it's not fair. And so since
Most
then, man,
people
I've
agree
tried
with
to
that.
stay off of, like, when people send that kind of shit, don't send me that. It's like this porn. We use it as porn.
Yes.
So as long as we keep doing that,
Yes.
that kind of stuff's going to keep happening.
And as long as you keep rewarding cancel culture.
And you do it by clicks. We do that by clicks. When you click on it, then you fucking saying, I support this, even if you don't.
That's right.
That's what's crazy.
That's right.
That's where the weird addiction comes in. It's like we're just
but also like the fact that Disney makes amazing products and my kids love their movies.
They're
and
good
when
shit,
when a massive company like that, cancels someone like Gina Carano, and we still, we're still patrons of that company. In a way, we're all complicit.
Right.
And it's so hard to fight, man.
It's hard to fight because there's such tech is the new fossil fuel, man.
Yeah.
That's the oil.
What happened with this country singer who used the N-word? He didn't really, I think people kind of galvanized. Did people kind of go, this is too much, or what happened?
Morgan's a friend of mine. He was on a podcast. He was on a couple months ago. He used it. He called his friend the N-word in the street. He came back and apologized. He said, I'm going to try to do better. And, the media did what they did. They ripped him up. What got me about that, obviously, like, it's like he called his friend pussy ass Nigga, right, to a white dude. And I think a lot of white people should be called the N-word. I got called it a bunch growing up. I still get called it sometimes by this dude that lives in the park. The black guy by me will call me it every now and then. I like it a little. I'll be honest. That's who I am.
Makes you feel included or something.
It does something, bro. You know, like sometimes,
Like you're cool.
no joke, I was walking with a girl a couple weeks ago and the guy said it and I know she didn't hear him and I fucking said, hey, say it louder, bro. You know, and he did. And he said it louder, bro. He's a black guy. He can say it, right? He can
in a way you feel like he trusts you and he knows that you're not a prejudiced white guy.
Right.
Like
He knows I'm not a spy.
Like in a way, it
that's
feels
what
like
he knows.
he's saying something. It's like a term of endearment for you. Like,
Yeah, it was like a coat I got to wear for a couple seconds, gave me a little bit of clout with the dame, you know, or the man, whatever she was. I don't know what she's chosen to be. I hadn't checked in
I'm
with
glad
her.
you cleared that.
But yeah. But what got me was that, and is that suddenly there were news articles that would never even watch Morgan. That was the guy's name.
Yeah.
That would never even. And they're using it in their titling, like the N-word. So they're basically using the N-word to get you to go.
Of course.
So who's really
That's
using
the
it? One guy
algorithm.
who uses it on the street calling his white friend the N-word?
or the white press that makes money by getting clicks.
That's what burned. And it's like, man, it's
All
like.
of them go, oh, I can get this story.
Now I
Awesome.
can use the N-word.
And now we can get more online subscriptions. There's money in clicks.
Yeah.
And as long as there's money in clicks and there's money in telling your readers, your echo chamber, exactly what they want to hear and what they believe anyway and already,
Right.
you will continue to polarize the press. And now you look at anything that comes out of Huffington Post, you're like, I know exactly how they feel, so why am I going to read this?
Right.
Or Fox. Oh, here we go.
But it's like,
Here's a question.
but what else was I thinking? I had one more thought on this. But it's just and he came out and said for himself, you know, he said, you know, what he wanted to say on it. So it's like, it's his thing. But I don't know. Sometimes you feel like it's just crazy how you can go and buy on certain platforms, you can buy the N-word and listen to it. You know, you can pay $2 for it, $1.99 for a song and go listen.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like, maybe don't make it available to white people.
Well, I think that this guy somehow got, like they tried to cancel him, and I think his fans were like, no, we're going to buy all his stuff. And he went,
He'll have the biggest tour in the world in a couple years. His music is just great.
yeah.
I mean, I think, you know, and he's a great kid. I was at his house a couple nights before the video stuff, and there were black guys over there with him. It's not like,
I'm sure. He's not,
I've seen racist people.
yeah, he's not a racist guy.
He's not a racist guy.
Yeah.
So, and that's obvious to most human people with a brain.
Yeah.
But
intention doesn't matter anymore. It's just consequence. What's this question? I see a guy asking a question.
yeah, let's get out of this. Sorry, and I didn't really want to talk about that, but
It's okay. We're covering a lot of bases right
What's going
now,
on,
dude.
fellas? How you doing? I'm sitting here ripped off my gourd right now, off some of those good Oregon Derbyshires. Yeah. And I've got a question for you. If you had to give each other 3 compliments that didn't have anything to do with comedy or a mullet, what would they be?
It's a hockey haircut, first of all.
That's good. That's a great question. 3 compliments that had nothing to do with comedy or the mullet.
I would say this. You want to? Who goes first, Nick?
Brian.
Okay.
Go every other.
Fine. I'm your boss, but Brian.
I would
I'm
say.
just joking.
I would say that you're. I think you have a very original brain, and I love that about you.
Okay.
And I think, I mean, I'm not allowed to talk about comedy, but it's very difficult to separate your. See, you have what's called original expression. You're just original. You're an original generally, and that's so fucking rare. And then I think you're very loyal. You're a loyal fucking dude. And you also have overcome something I think most people don't even understand. I mean, I think what you've overcome over your family, your mother, and all that, I don't think anybody realizes how huge that is. I don't. And I think that always is going to be something that you're contending with. But the wrestle, it's that Jacob's ladder thing when he wrestled the angel. The angel that you wrestle on a day-to-day basis is what makes, and you're winning that. You're winning, whether you know it or not, you win it every day. And it actually makes the world a better place. So your trauma, and I believe it's trauma, I really do. I've watched your old stuff when you were young, talking about your life and your childhood. The trauma that you went through has not beaten you. It has made the world a better place. That's why people love you. And I don't think you would be who you are without, the irony is you wouldn't be who you are without that almost impossible thing to deal with, that thing that would break most people, and you never let it. You just turned it into something very special. So that's my compliment. Those are my 3 compliments for Theo Vaughn. That's why I love you.
Well, thank you, bro. That's sweet of you to say, man.
I don't know if you're going to find 3 things on me. This is cashmere, though.
I don't know if I'm going to... I mean, you're such a good expressionist, man. I would say, for one, your ability to take a moment to give valuable interaction is something that is very rare. I've had a couple moments with you over the years that I can remember. Even one of the first ones going back to at the Bruco, when you told me, I was asking you something about comedy, and you had a conversation with me just about learning as much as I could, and just, if you'll learn as much as you can, then you'll have so many tools to be comedic from, to even things now, from growing up to recommending books, just different things. If I'm going through sharing stuff, like different, experiences from childhood trauma, and wanting to discuss that and needing some support. You actually even if it takes a day or something for you to call back or to get back, when you do, you give some time that's real, that really feels valuable and important. And so I want to say thank you for that, man. It's really sweet of you.
Good.
Because when I hear you, I hear somebody that it's like a voice like a male voice that's educated, that I never just, and is kind of educated, but also good at injecting it into the flow of immediate life. And so it's hard to do that. It's such a skill that so few people have. So thank you. I'm lucky to be privileged to see some of that and to experience it firsthand. Outside of that, I would say probably
symmetrical.
I would say symmetrical, probably. I would go with that, and it doesn't have anything to do with hair. I would say symmetrical. Yeah. I would say
supple.
Your vitality for life. I think you're like a fucking vein, is what you are. You're like...
Keep moving.
Yeah.
No matter what happens. Keep growing. Keep moving.
You're
Don't
a femoral.
Stop.
You're a fucking femoral vein, dude. You're rolling through the big bone.
You can't stop.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't out here in a damn tarple. You know what I'm saying?
Picasso said, I think he called it sweeping the alley. Like Picasso was like, no matter what, famine,
Karate
war,
Kid.
all that, keep painting, keep painting, keep painting.
That's crazy.
So when he was 90 years old, he was painting on the level he was painting at when he was 40 for real. I went to a show that he had. It was his work. I think he did it when he was 90. Damn. And I would listen to the art historian explain what he was doing. I was like, this motherfucker is 90, and he was painting on the level that's beyond. Like, he was still doing it at the highest level.
That's crazy.
I was like, if that's the case, if that's where the bar is, man, I'm fucked. I can never stop.
Yeah.
But it's hard. I just hope I'm allowed to. You just keep hoping that you, in one way or another, can continue to be expressive and continue to do what you love.
Yeah. I'm not an idiot, but I'm definitely, I will mill around with idiots, bro. And I will definitely read books I've read 6 or 7 times, dude, and not know what happened.
That's normal.
Okay.
Come on, man.
But what I'm saying is that, fuck, man, I forgot about it. But it's. You
said I was a vein. I was femoral.
I was a femoral. Yeah. Okay. Femoral vein. So that's 2.
I think those are 2 things. I think a femoral artery.
Okay.
And a vein. I think the difference is what an artery.
But an artery comes and goes. An artery is it's from the heart, and it's you're not like that. Artery is more of like it's more of a super highway.
Yeah.
You're a little bit more of that service road.
Am I?
Yeah.
Kind of like bumpy, a little bumpy.
Yeah, there's definitely some
potholes.
There's some potholes. There's some zoning issues.
You can't be a smooth highway and be a comic.
No, you can't.
You gotta have some plaque up in
there's
that
some
bitch.
left turns. There's some fucking dead ends.
You got some varicose shit. You got some backed up, some backed up like coagulated blood and
There's
shit.
some plavicid in the fucking.
I don't even know what plavicid is, but you gotta have some shit you can't identify.
There's big pharma is fucking starting to play a role in this.
What's with the plavicid in there? Like, what the fuck is that? We don't know. We don't know, but put on your mask because we got to get through this shit right now.
Your grandparents are dying. Jim Brewer has this great bit now. He's like, grandmother's dying. It's like he's fucking impersonating a Nazi.
Fucking, I love him. Yeah. You know, as you get older, I'll tell you this, I'm a lot older than you, and you get less sure of any kind of a truth.
Really?
In a way.
Now, that's another thing I was going to ask you. How does aging happen in your beliefs and in your thoughts? Like, what starts to happen?
You know, I tend to become more compassionate for people who have a totally different point of view than I do, right?
Wow.
So I'm a white straight male, right? Fine. I'm not saying you have it easy if you're a white straight male. But I'm saying that if I was a black woman, if I was a Native American or an indigenous person, a First Nation person from Winnipeg, if I was from a small Indian village in the south of India, I would have a very different point of view.
That's true.
On the world, on what's right, on what's wrong, on what's fair, what's unfair, on what I was afraid of, what I wasn't afraid of. If I was a black man, for the most part, even if I had money, even if I was privileged with an education.
Yeah.
If I drove by, I know this, if I was driving by 2 white cops, okay, maybe not now, but certainly 9 months ago.
Right.
I would have turned my music down. I would have put my glasses on. I might have rolled my window down.
Set my wallet on the dashboard.
Whatever it is.
Right.
Right? Whatever it is. A little bit like the way we talk now about anything that's considered politically incorrect. We're now aware that big tech might shut us off.
Right.
That was what it's like. That's what it was like always. So as I get older and I read more and I try to take that perspective of I don't know, it tends to make me a little bit more compassionate and a little less attached to my cognitive beliefs because I know how my brain works.
Right.
It's from reading. My brain works like this. I'm an emotional creature. So I have a set of beliefs that were given to me by people I loved, like my mother and my father, like the culture I come from.
And media.
Like what worked for me and media, right? So I have a set of beliefs like this. And so what happens is when you have that set of beliefs, you're going to try to find evidence to support your beliefs. So if you start talking about socialism, I'm automatically going to have an argument.
Right.
Because I'm a capitalist, quote unquote, or
Right.
I'm a free market guy, right? I'm a libertarian. But then I'll read a book and I realize that a lot of the basis of what I'm making all my philosophy on is not necessarily grounded in evidence. And that somebody over there who has a different point of view has something to offer me, has something to enlighten me on. So this is a process. So I guess what I'm saying is that as I get older, I realize I'm a work in progress. Don't be too attached to everything you believe.
I love that.
Don't be so sure that everything you know and believe is true. Okay? That's really important. And be willing to change your mind based on evidence and be able to see the evidence when it's in front of you.
Well, right. I agree with you, man. And I think and I've even noticed in my own life over the past 9 months, over the past year, I've gotten a lot of people are very stuck to their beliefs because some of it's a safety mechanism.
Yeah.
They feel attacked. They feel like they don't know.
Because the other
Things are
side's
uncertain.
building weaponry over there, right? Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, it's like you start to feel, and you feel like they're not doing that. So why do I have to, it's like, it's interesting how like a lot of that has flared up over the past year.
Well, there's a documentary on Netflix called Crack. And remember crack babies? The idea of a crack baby? Okay.
I know a guy.
That was all bullshit. That was all bullshit. There were no crack babies. Crack babies weren't born that way. Most of the time it was a woman who was drinking marijuana. But it wasn't that crack itself was creating a whole generation of kids who are addicted to cocaine. That's not.
Oh, yeah. I never heard that. I just heard like if they had a real skinny baby and he had jewelry on.
But yeah, but again,
That's what I always heard.
again, you can also add to that black baby. You can also add that black woman giving birth to black baby.
Right.
So what happened with the crack epidemic is I said, your crack baby's born to a mother who's addicted to crack.
Oh,
now,
see.
I promise you, in every white American's, at the media, and even movies like Boys in the Hood, the woman was holding a baby and saying something like, I'll do whatever it takes
Right, I
to
need
get my
crack.
crack.
Right.
It was a black woman. It was always demonizing a black woman. It's just true. So if you're a black woman in the hood trying to make ends meet, you can't afford to leave a battle zone, and you're trying to raise your kids, and there's 1,000 other things you're dealing with, and now that's going on in the media, you're being demonized.
Right.
So because that was the narrative.
Right.
And so you'd have a very different perspective on America.
Oh, I would have a
and
total.
who you were if you were a black woman, especially living in the 80s and 90s. My generation, how the fuck wouldn't you have a chip on your shoulder?
Oh,
Tell me.
dude, yeah. Look, I think about that a lot of times. I think sometimes people don't realize, like, I've talked before about, like, Disney World, like, you'd see the advertisements for Disney World, and there was always white kids at Disney World.
Yeah.
So if you're a black kid and you're watching that, how would you not feel like, oh, this isn't even for me?
You weren't represented in cartoons,
Right.
anything.
Well, but there's some stuff that's not entirely true. Like, some of my favorite shows were black acted shows. So,
Yeah.
like, you had Sanford and Son, you had In the Heat of the Night, which had a black characters in it. Some of my favorite, Althea Tibbs is one of my favorite characters ever from a drama. They had a lot of, and what was the one, and I know I'm just saying the one, but there was a lot. There was the one with
Cosby?
the cops. There was Cosby, which was huge.
That did a lot. That was like, oh, look, there's a black family just like a white family. There's
Right.
a black doctor. He's in my living room every day.
Right.
That was an important show in that sense.
But I could imagine, yeah. But when I was growing up, there wasn't any black doctors in our town.
No. So this is where I get where black activists, where white, activists, where woke people are coming from. If you actually look at the history of this country, just go back 20 years, 15 years. See, I'm not liberal this way. I'm not like a woke person. I do like fair play, though. And
Oh,
if you show me,
100%.
I've
I've always wanted
something's
fair
not
play.
fair, if you show me where something's not fair,
Oh, I'd be
go,
furious.
I'm right there. I'm like, I got it. I get it. I get it.
Oh man, I remember putting a Jesse Jackson sign out in front of our apartment growing up. Like, I remember, I was a David Dukakis fan. Like, I really resonated with a lot of,
I
like,
say David Duke.
oh, I used to lift weights at David Duke. Everybody knows that, though.
Did you?
Yeah.
You worked out with David Duke?
Yeah, he shared a fence. Dude, he used to date the hottest chick at the seafood restaurant I worked at.
Is that right?
God.
You live near David Duke?
She was hot. Yeah. Still, my folks still share a back fence not far from him.
That's hilarious. David Duke.
They call him D Duke around the neighborhood.
D Duke.
He's a beautiful little Pomeranian white. I will say that, but
Yeah, that would make sense.
but
Here we go.
yeah, there's just a lot to it, man. There's a lot to it. But yeah, to think that, I think the part that gets me a lot of times, it's people have now become like, it's like people use the woke stuff for clout, and it's not even about the argument anymore. And then I also start to see, I've always thought about like equality, fairness. I see a lot of like black supremacy, Jewish supremacy. I see some people, Indian supremacy. I see a lot. I don't like
Asian privilege.
I don't like supremacy.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Anytime when people start to get stuff into supremacy, Marcellus Wiley, was that guy's name? He had a great quote about it a while back. That's the part where it starts to make me feel angry, bro. I don't like any type of supremacy, bro. Like, it just, because then it's not about everybody anymore.
Well, you're assigning something called group guilt. What you're doing is you're saying that entire group is guilty. And if you do that, we know how that works out in history too.
Right.
Because when you assign guilt to an entire group just for their color, just for their gender, just for their
socioeconomic background.
Yeah. Now, if you do that, just remember that that's a double-edged sword. You can turn that sword on the other group just as quickly.
Yeah.
If you do that to that group, when you're done with that group, you're next. And what happens is if you have group guilt, then you usually have to have a group that rectifies that guilt. And one need only look at the world today, forget history, and see how that works out for people who are assigned group guilt. They're killed. They're jailed. They're put in concentration camps.
Wow.
They're quote unquote marginalized in the worst way possible. So let's all be careful about that shit.
Yeah.
That's the problem with identity politics. That's why I'm now one thing I'm not on the fence on is I am very against identity politics. I think it's fucking the worst.
I don't even know what it is.
It's the idea that you are essentially breaking people up into their groups, and you are assigning guilt or you are assigning victimhood to varying degrees to different groups. I mean, that's what you do. And those groups that have traditionally been in a position of quote unquote supremacy or in a position of privilege have to take now a back seat or whatever, or are
Like,
or
give me
are,
an example,
you know,
so I know what I'm.
Well, the idea behind identity politics would be, we have, even when you start talking about the black vote versus the Asian vote versus the white vote, you're already creating groups. You're already saying that you're already creating a monolith. You're suggesting that black people think the same.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That their opinions
it's hard not to do
as
that.
diverse as it gets.
Right.
But also when you start doing that, when you start saying we need a quota, we need representation from this group because this group has been left out, you're playing a form of identity politics. Because when you do that, when you privilege one group over the other, or you start detracting just based on group, not based on skill, based on biological attributes, you have to have an enforcing mechanism. You have to have someone at the top who has the power to make those decisions, to enforce those decisions. That is something you must do through force. You must do at the end of the day at the barrel of a gun.
Damn.
Because that's what the state does. If I say no, they say yes. If I really refuse to move, you get dragged out by officers of the law.
Right.
They happen to have guns. At the end of the day, there's no way to do that without some form of coercion, some form of force. When you do that and you demonize one group, or you start to say this group is a victim and this group has to pay for that, what happens is you're going to really push people into groups. What you're going to do is you're going to create America will become what a prison yard is, what a state penitentiary becomes, where you got the Aryan Brotherhood over here, you got the Southern Mexicans, you got the Northern Mexicans, you got the black, you got this whole thing over here, and all of a sudden you create, and now the only consideration is color, and you have people that are so obsessed with color, it's like they should be in art school. They should be in art school studying oil painting.
Yeah, oil.
Because that's the only criteria. And so it's a very rudimentary, very dangerous game to play.
Damn.
And I'm not nearly as articulate about this.
No, it's helpful.
Jordan
For me,
Peterson.
it's great, though, because it's good, because it's like, yeah, this is good practice. Because Jordan Peterson, it's like, damn, it's like somebody just beat you in the face with a fucking library.
He's been talking about this. I did the first podcast with him.
Really?
Yeah, that's when Rogan texted me and said, your podcast with Jordan Peterson was great. He had just heard about him, and I did this.
You
podcast.
and Jordan Peterson were on Rogan together?
No, I did the first podcast with him in our group.
No
and
way.
Rogan then put him on.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah. How about that?
Wow.
Yeah, man. And it was so great. I've done 3 podcasts with him, I think. So it's such an honor. I love that guy.
Yeah, I feel pretty excited. I'm trying to think of good questions, like just to ask, and just things that I'm like thinking about,
Just
and
read
also
the book.
things that I'm scared about. Yeah, I'm gonna read the book.
Yeah.
But also just things that like I'm just worried about, or just like just looking for sometimes guidance.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you get someone that has more experience, what I like to try to do sometimes is get some guidance. So how do we stay away from identity politics and stuff like that? What can we do, and how do we stay funny? What can we do to stay funny in a time like this?
You have to fight back. You have to recognize, first of all, where identity politics came from. You have to recognize what the other side that pushes that stuff is trying to do. You have to have better ideas. You have to remember that what has worked for the most part with the West and what other countries have not done is that they treat people as individuals.
Okay.
You treat everyone as an individual. you treat when someone comes in for a job, whether they are trans, whether they are black, whether they are Native American, whether they are straight white guy.
India.
I want to see what you can do. Let me try. And what they'll tell you is there's unconscious bias. Okay, so they say if you're white, you're unconsciously going to be biased towards someone who's white. Okay, fine.
That's true.
Well,
sometimes.
I don't either. But this is the new thing. So you have anti-bias training. Here's the problem with anti-bias training. Here's the biggest problem. So the idea is you have some expert who's taken some classes in the humanities. And they come in and they apparently are the experts on how to teach you about your unconscious bias. Okay.
Oh my God.
The idea then would be you take a class and now you don't have either you don't have unconscious bias or you're aware that you have unconscious bias. Okay, all good. The problem is you'll never take unconscious bias out of a human being. And by the way, unconscious bias is very important and a very good thing most of the time or some of the time.
Yeah.
Why? If somebody has shifty eyes and clammy hands, I'm not fucking
loaning
coke. You money, or I'm not going to hire you for the job because you're sketchy. I can't explain why, but you give my gut, my intuition, the notion that you ain't no good.
Yeah.
And I need that because that's how I keep my money. That's how I keep safe.
That's how I keep my family safe.
Yeah, well, that's how women keep stay safe. When they see a guy who's something's over there. So my mother told me that one time. She goes, there was a guy. And the way he was standing, I knew he was looking to jump me. I knew he was looking to rape me.
Oh yeah.
And so my mother was like, she got a bad feeling and turned and walked the other way. And blah blah blah. So we need our unconscious bias.
Yeah, you can't walk into a dark alley filled with people like bad wolves and just be like, maybe they're good wolves. You know, the guy at the meeting said maybe they're good wolves. Give them a chance. One of them is loading a gun and chiseling your name into the side of it.
This is where critical race theory comes in. This is all comes out of the same idea that it's not enough to be not racist. You have to be actually actively tearing down the institutions that have given us the longest standing democracy in the history of the world. You got to start tearing down institutions.
Dude, I grew up
like
around...
the nuclear family apparently is bad now.
Yeah, that's insane. And that's what's causing a lot. I mean, a lot of it is people don't have any faith anymore. There's nowhere to turn. We could go into all of it.
It's being talked about at least, and even a couple of knuckleheads like us are actually talking about it. Fuck this. Let's get back to comedy.
I wanted to get into something funny. I fucked up.
No, it's all good.
This could be funny. I don't know.
Okay, here's a guy right here, and this guy might be black, might be white. This dude might be Jehovah's Witnesses.
He's a composite man.
What up, Theo? Bryan, Bry Guy, the original kid Callen.
Gang.
Yeah, Bry. We just all want to know, probably. You spent a lot of time away. Me personally missed you. I'm sure a lot of other people did too. And I think we're just all really curious. Like, what did you do during that time? Like, what happened? Like, give us an update. I think we're all really wanting to know how you spent that time. Your gang.
Yeah, what have you been doing, Bryan?
Great question. Starting a podcast with Steve Byrne, Big and Hungry podcast.
Big and Hungry, yeah, which I was on.
Yes, you were.
Which is awesome.
Drops every Monday.
When's our episode coming out?
I think this Monday.
Okay.
And it's fucking hilarious.
Okay,
you killed it.
Cool.
And
Thank
then
you guys
we
for
got
having me on.
Yep, that's Big and Hungry. Anywhere you find podcasts. I've been doing the Conspiracy Social Club with Sam Tripoli twice a week. And that's been interesting because now we might have to move over to another platform. Rockfin, because we too hot. We too hot
for Vimeo.
Yeah.
But that's good. Maybe something like Rockfin starts up.
Yeah.
I wish we would all start our own platform, but
yeah,
you know.
And I just kept, I was dealing with a lot of shit, so I worked out every day, and I just.
Did you?
Yeah, and I just tried to become a better father. And I was going through a divorce, but that ended very amicably because me and my ex get along really well, and we raised the kids together, and we didn't need courts, and we did some lawyer stuff just because it's detailed, but other than that we did it great, and I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of her for that. We ended it really, really well, because the kids are our priority, and then I don't know, man. I just I brushed up on my kung fu.
Did you?
Yeah, dude.
There's something about that staying physically active. How important was that, man?
It's called communicating with your body. That's what you do. So when you do a sport or you do anything, you're communicating with your body. You it only gets harder as you get older.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But that's almost the point. Like embracing the suck. You don't have to work out an hour, dude. You can fucking lift for 20 minutes and kill yourself. I worked out for 15 minutes yesterday. I'm sore as fuck.
Yeah.
But the way you do it is what matters. But then you do a sport. Get good at something, man. I always say this to people if you're young. Get good. I don't give a fuck if it's salsa dancing. If you get really good at salsa dancing, it will open up a whole world for you. If you get really good at jiu-jitsu, if you get really good at the flute, I don't give a fuck what it is. If you get really good at anything that requires like practice on a daily basis, the answers lie there.
Yeah, and then you're going to come in contact with other people who have gotten really good at things, and you're going to be introduced to so many more things then, and you're going to learn from the best. It's just, there is something that's so valuable about just having spent some time doing things. Man, I've been trying to get into jiu-jitsu more, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm a white belt, currently white belt.
White Belt Nation.
White Belt Nation, dude, also. Hard Scarf Club. And I'm looking to compete maybe at some point.
That's great.
I don't know if I'll compete this year.
Yeah.
But the hardest part people don't realize at my age, I have to do yoga probably 4 times a week to stay in enough of a comfortable physical space to then be able to go even to the jiu-jitsu class. So it's like there's so much that has to happen outside of the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I started eating liver crisps, like liver jerky.
Yeah.
To get I got a damn menstrual cycle in the back of my throat half the week, dog. I'm fucking ready to go, son. Let's fucking go.
Straight up carnivore.
Oh, I could spit in the air and a fucking wolf will show up and catch it. I'm ready to go. So I've been trying to challenge myself a little bit more in that space. And then, some of that learning in jiu-jitsu, it takes like the anger that's inside of me. It takes it out of my body. To be trapped by another man or young woman and not have any fucking recourse except to scream into the fucking abyss.
As they're imposing their will on you.
Of a fucking gym where people are laughing at me.
You can't breathe.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, look at Theo Vaughn getting tapped.
Yeah.
It's so good for you, though.
Look at him getting tapped by this bus girl from Olive Garden.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's so good for you, though. Shit like that where you're not. I think that's the best thing you can do for your comedy.
Oh, it's great.
You practice shit that you're not good at, and you're having to like readjust your neural pathways and stuff. It's like doing LSD, man. All of a sudden, you're going to be thinking about shit differently.
Yeah.
Like you're just not comfortable.
Yeah.
Being comfortable, comfort might be the wolf at the door.
Comfort, look, we've said it on this podcast before. Comfort will be your coffin, man. It really will. And it's crazy to think that.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
And before we go, I was a little bit nervous about having you on just because I know you kind of been through a lot over the past year. Has it been tough to what's it been like for you, man?
Terrible.
Has it been?
Yeah, the worst.
Yeah.
Because you can't fight back. There's nothing you can do. Just the way it is. And it's very interesting because you get ready for whatever come what may in life, right? And then something comes along that you don't even know how to fight against. How the fuck do you fight something like that? How in the world do you, when you never in a million years thought something like that would happen? In a million years, because you've tried to live your life the best,
right,
helping everybody. And I don't know, I can just only, I'm not spiritual enough, but you got to just kind of figure out how to pivot. But it's real, and it's got lasting consequences, and it's true destruction. But the question is, who are you in destruction? Who are you when chaos hits? Who are you when everything is taken from you that you've built over 30 years? And I don't know, but I'm finding out. At least I'm tough. At least I know who the fuck I am. And that's the other thing. I've talked to people who've been through this, and one of a dear friend of mine said, the good news is you know who you are, and you know what you've done, and you sure as fuck know what you haven't done. And that's what's kept me going. That's why I keep moving. That's why I'm not quiet about things, because I know who I am, and I'm a good person. And I've done everything I can to try to make the world a better place. And I'll keep doing that. The biggest thing is not letting it take the funny away from you. That's a motherfucker. My biggest accomplishment has been I wrote a whole hour in this insanity. And I was funny. And I did a good fucking job. And I'll keep doing that. That's been... when you can suffer well, wow, suffer with dignity, and suffer productively, and criticize by creating. Keep criticizing by creating. Don't criticize by complaining. Don't criticize by, well, this person did that to me. That's always going to exist. I just got hit. Okay, Now what?
That's good for me to hear, man, because I do that sometimes. I'll fall, especially in this past year, and I think a lot of us have. We've fallen into the complain and the fear and the outbursts and the speak. But yeah, to be able to stay creative.
That's it, man.
Has there ever been any like actual court case or anything that's followed up from the accusations?
No, not at all.
Okay,
not at all. And because you're talking about an accusation that is 21 years old, dude. This is somebody. I don't want to get into the details, but this is somebody.
And I'm not trying to get you into it. I just wanted to know.
This is somebody I mean, it's insane. I don't know what happened, and I'm not interested in speculating on that.
But there was never there hasn't been like a court case. There's not like
No, because absolutely not.
Right. Well, that's two things. There's one thing.
Ready for this? I didn't do it.
Right.
There's always that. The good news is I didn't do it, and that's. I mean, I'm always hesitant to say this, but the number of women, and I put it in a Dropbox, and I sent it to my lawyer and my publicist. The number of women that have been in my life over the past 25 years that reached out without me doing anything. A couple of them are high profile who've gone through this stuff with Harvey Weinstein.
Wow.
The number of women that actually reached out to me and said, I can't believe this is happening to you, was so heartening to me. I put them all the texts. These people I hadn't heard from for 10 years, 15 years. When you hear from that many people, and
yet to hear someone
I put it all in. I have it all saved.
Right.
I have it all saved. It's pretty devastating. It's pretty cool to have that many people that you never even reached out to reach out to you. Then you have some people you haven't talked to in 10 and 15 years.
And say, hey, you were a good guy.
Like, I can't believe this is happening to you, and I'll be a witness for you.
Wow.
That's like, that's what I hold on to, those kinds of things. But sometimes when somebody writes an article, it never goes away. They just, your reputation in many ways is destroyed in certain circles, or it shuts off your ability to do anything in certain facets.
Right.
And so, okay, that happened. Now what? Let's move forward.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to shy from it. I'm never shying from it. And I'm never going to hide. And I'm never going to put my head down, because I know who I am and I know the truth. And Jordan Peterson says, in chaos, all you can do is tell the truth.
Damn.
And, and that's what I said to the first thing I said to my lawyer and my publicist. I go, I need to know that you guys know that I'm innocent. I don't want a hired gun. I don't want anybody who doesn't believe fully that this is, and so I provided them with the evidence, but that's okay.
Well, I'm sorry for not being brave, like just trying to be brave or to be more supportive.
It's not your job. This is a very scary time. So I'll stop you right there. This is a very scary time for everybody, because if they can come for me, they can come for anybody.
Well, I just wanted to be able to, at least to be able to have a place where people can be heard, whatever to have a discussion, or just to be heard about, like, yeah, it just felt like you'd never even had a chance to be heard in some ways.
No, you're not. You're not. We have built a world where due process doesn't exist. We have built a world where, like it or not, and there's arguments on both sides, where allegations alone ruin everything. Allegations alone destroy your life. And that's a fact. And I really
That's
wonder.
Spooky, man.
Well, it's not good for anyone. Not for your
Halloween,
son.
man.
It's not for your brother, not for your father, not for your friend. It ain't. And again, I always say this, if you want to build a world like that, where there's no due process, where the court of public opinion can destroy your ability to feed your children, you're next.
Yeah.
I always say that. So,
Oh yeah. I just don't see how that ends. I don't see how that ends well.
Well, it just gives all the power to one side. And that's an imbalance of power is never good. So we're trying to figure it out. We're all trying to figure it out.
Well, yeah, I appreciate you being here today, man, and making me feel, and just, talking to me about it, and also just talking about just whatever, man.
I love.
I've always felt like you've instilled power in me, man.
Really?
Yeah, I really do.
Well, I believe in you, and you're worth it. And I always tell you that when you get down on yourself, you're fucking important. You're important, my friend. The shit you do, it's so important to people. You know why? Because they laugh. And you know what happens when you laugh? You know what happens when Theo Von makes people laugh? They forget they're human. They forget they have to go to the bathroom. They forget they're broke. They forget they hate their job. They forget that they are that their girlfriend's cheating on them. They forget that they were abused. They forget it all. Because when you make people laugh, people just they forget that for a second, and they forget that they have to even sleep. I appreciate you crying over it because it's important that you hear that. You are important.
Thanks, bro.
Your job is important.
Well, I appreciate you always making me feel important, bro.
Yeah, man.
And thank you guys, man, for just even letting me start doing podcasting, man. You know?
You were undeniable. How the fuck how are we gonna deny you? You're just too undeniable, and you put your fucking time in, man. How many years did you put in, including your childhood that made you the comic that you are? So
yeah, if you include childhood, dude, a decent amount of years, dude. The bedwetting till 30. Bro, if you include the fucking night shift of changing my own sheets,
that's why you wear those diapers. That's not sexy, bro. That's
bro,
not
I
sexy.
remember at one point I would take a fucking towel or sheet or something and wrap it around, make this big diaper, and stuff as many t-shirts as I had in there. So when I pissed again, it would just absorb it and I could still just stay asleep.
How long did you wet the bed for?
Oh, easily, no joke, 30 years old.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, man, I was just a traumatic sleeper.
Yeah, bro.
I was just fighting fucking dragons.
Yeah, man.
People are like, you're going to piss? Like, yeah, I'm going to fucking piss now, dude. I'm fucking battling a fucking orca with long arms, bitch.
Comics are so special and unique. It's so interesting. Like, comics, like, what
it was the dark arts.
You need?
Dude, I remember I used to wake up in the middle of the night because I remember hearing that animals could get you at night. Animals could get other animals if they hadn't urinated in an area. Yeah. And I would piss around my bed in a circle from my bed to keep the fucking animals away.
Goddamn right, and it works, man.
Yeah, and there's nobody checking in with me to make sure everything's okay.
That's the golden ring,
Nobody
bro.
coming in my room and noticing that there's just soggy spots in the fucking floorboards.
It's the golden ring.
Yeah,
it's the golden ring. Keep snakes away.
Yeah, dude.
Roaches, black
kept
widows.
It all away, bro.
Yeah, man.
God, yeah, what a fucking battle.
And vampires. I think piss keeps vampires away. If you're a righteous man, you piss righteous. Even vampires go, this piss smells good. This smells like it comes out of a man who does good, a man who hates himself but puts out good in the world and makes other people feel that they're okay. Makes them forget they're human.
Well, we keep doing our best, man.
Yes, sir.
We keep doing our fucking best,
appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, man. I'm glad to see you. Big and Hungry. You guys can check it out, obviously. Mm-hmm. And one of the pioneers of podcasting right here.
I'll be in Jacksonville, Florida, Comedy Zone, March 4, 5, and 6. Zany's March 3rd for the live podcast, where Theo Von will be down in Nashville.
Yeah, maybe I'll pop through there.
I'd love that if you came in. Damn, it'd be good. And then we got I got Omaha, Nebraska, March 11, 12, 13. And then I got Huntsville, Alabama, March 25, 26, 27. I think that are those dates, yeah.
Really?
Stand Up Live. Have you done that?
Yeah, I've done it. Yeah. It's great. It's great. It's right. It's not far from Nashville. It's a good club. I like that green room. Yeah. It's right there. You know?
Huntsville. All right, kids.
Thanks, man.
God bless.
Now I'm just floating on the breeze, and I feel I'm falling like these leaves. I must be cornerstone. Oh, but when I reach that ground, I'll share this peace of mind I found. I can feel it in my bones. But it's gonna take a little time for me to set that parking brake and let myself unwind. Shine that light on me. I'll sit and tell you my stories. Shine on me, and I will find a song. I will sing it just for you. And now I've been moving way too fast on the runaway train with a heavy load of my past. And these rails that I've been riding on, they're worn so thin that they're damn near gone. I guess now